Hello students, in today's lecture I'll discuss about problems on design of bolted joints. We have three types of problems in bolted joint. Here we are going to consider the eccentric load. Now this eccentric load can be parallel to the axis of bolt, or it can be perpendicular to the axis of bolt, or it can be in the plane containing the bolt. So we'll discuss all these three cases one by one, and we'll solve one numerical problem on each case. So the first case is eccentric load acting parallel to the axis of bolt. So as you can see in this figure, load is acting parallel to the axis of bolt. So when you have this type of loading, then how to solve the problem? So just see this figure carefully. Now here we have 4 bolts. 2 bolts are at distance L1 from this edge A, and 2 bolts are at distance L2. This you can see in side view. So in side view, this is the tilting edge AA. So that edge here in front view is shown here. So you can see corresponding to this length L1 we have 2 bolts, and then at L2 we have 2 bolts. So total we have 4 bolts. Now when load is acting parallel to the axis of bolt, now one thing is clear, that there will be a direct tensile force that will be acting on each of these 4 bolts. So what will be that direct tensile load? See, this load is going to pull the bolts. So each bolt will share equal load from this W. So if there are 4 bolts, then the tensile force or direct tensile force that is acting on each bolt will be W divided by N, where N is number of bolts. So in this case there are 4 bolts, so the direct tensile load that will be shared by each bolt will be W by 4 in this case. So the first step in this problem is calculate direct tensile force acting on each bolt. So WT1 is equal to W by N. After calculating direct tensile force, then we'll see what is the another effect of this load W. Now since this is eccentric load, there will be a moment of this force about this tilting edge. Now this will cause a tensile force acting on each of this load. Now we'll see how to calculate this secondary tensile load because of this tilting, because as you can see here, this moment is going to pull the bolts. So there will be that tensile force because of this moment. So let us assume that these lengths are given as L1 and L2, and we have here 2 bolts at L1 and L2. So load W, as we discussed, tends to rotate the bracket about edge AA, and due to this bolt is stretched. Now this stretching depends on the distance of bolt, because now see, this stretching is because of moment, and we know that moment depends on what? Distance. It is force into distance. So this stretching depends on the distance of bolt from tilting edge. So the bolts at length L1 will have different stretching compared to bolts at length L2. So it is obvious, if stretching is different, that means tensile force acting on the bolts at L1 and L2 will be different. So now let us see how to find out this tensile force due to the stretching, which is because of the turning moment of W about tilting edge AA. Now let this W, small w, be the load in bolt per unit distance, and let W1 and W2 be the loads on each bolt at distance L1 and L2. So we are assuming W1 is load on two bolts. Here there are two bolts at L1. So W1 is load at on the bolts which are at distance L1 from tilting edge, and W2 is load on bolt number, let us say 3 and 4, which are at distance L2 from A. Now load on each bolt at L1 will be small w into L1, because W, that small w, is load per unit distance, So if you multiply that w, small w, with the length or distance from tilting edge, what you are going to get is, you are going to get load at that length. Understood? So W1 will be small w into L1. Similarly, load on each bolt at L2 will be W into L2. So W1 is equal to W into L1, and W2 will be small w into L2. So to calculate this tension, secondary tension because of turning moment, first we must calculate small w, and once we get this small w, we can easily calculate W1 and similarly W2. So moment about AA, because of W1 will be W1 into L1, and this is equal to W1 is WL1 into L1. So this is the moment because of W1 at distance L1, because the force acting here at distance L1 will have moment W1 into L1 about this tilting edge A, and we know W1 is nothing but WL1. So moment is going to be force into distance, force is WL1 into L1, so that will be WL1 square. Similarly, load at L2 will be W2, and that W2 will be L2, and moment of W2 will be WL2 into distance L2, which will be WL2 square. Now this moment, that is total moment of W1 and W2, this is the resistance provided, resistance to the moment of actual load W. So this is load W. So whatever is moment of this W, that moment will be equal to moment of W2 and W1 about A1. So the total moment of W1 and W2 about A will be equal to the moment of the load W about A. So moment of W about A will be equal to force into distance, which is W into L. So this W into L we can write as W into L is equal to 2WL1 square plus 2WL2 square. Now this 2 is for the two bolts at L1. The moment of one bolt, that is tensile load on one bolt, is WL1 square, and we know at L1 there are 2 bolts, so 2 bolts will have moment 2 into WL1 square, and 2 bolts at L2 moment will be 2 into WL2 square. So W 2WL1 square plus 2WL2 square, and this moment will be equal to moment of the external load, which is W into L. So we can equate this W into L to 2WL1 square plus 2WL2 square, and that gives us small w is equal to W into L divided by 2 L1 square plus L2 square. So from this what we get is value of small w, which is intensity of load per unit length. Now the heavily loaded side is which is at a greater distance, and as we discussed earlier, L2 is greater than L1, so bolt at L2 are heavily loaded. So tensile force will be WT2, and that tensile force is equal to W into L2. This WT2 is nothing but W2. W2 means the tensile force which is because of stretching or turning moment. So that W2 is nothing but W into L2. So we have already calculated value of W, which is W into L divided by 2 L1 square plus L2 square, and if you multiply it by length, then you get W2, which is WT2 here. So W2 or WT2 is equal to WL2. So WL into L2 divided by 2 into L1 square plus L2 square, that gives us the secondary tensile force, which is because of turning moment. So what is now total load on most heavily loaded side? Now which is most heavily loaded side? Bolts at length T L2, and as we have already seen, there are two tensile forces in this case. The one force is direct tensile force, which is WT1, and the second force is tensile force because of stretching, which is WT2, and which is W into L2 divided by L1 square plus L2 square. So when we add these two forces, what we get is total tensile load acting on heavily loaded side. Now why we are finding heavily loaded side? Because that will be the side, or that will be the length at which bolt will fail. Why? Because it is heavily loaded compared to the other bolts. So that's why we are finding heavily loaded side. So total force, tensile force, will be WT1 plus WT2, and if DC is core diameter of bolt, then we can write this force, tensile force, is equal to pi by 4 into DC square, which is the area resisting to the failure, into sigma T, which is allowable tensile stress. Now by using this formula, we can find value of DC, which is core diameter of bolt. Now let us solve one problem here. A similar problem, similar on similar bracket. So what is given in this problem? A bracket as shown in figure supports a load of 30 kN. Determine the size of bolt if maximum allowable tensile stress in the bolt is 60 MPa. Length L1 and L2 are given as 80 mm and 250 mm, and length L is 500 mm. So steps are very simple. First we'll calculate direct tensile load, that will be WT1, which will be W divided by N, and in this case is 4. So 30 into 10 raised to 3 divided by 4 gives us 7.5 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. So this is WT1. Now second step is calculate load per unit distance, W, small w, which is WL divided by 2 into L1 square plus L2 square. So that gives us value of small w as 109 Newton per mm. Then we know that heavily loaded side is at distance L2 because L2 is greater than L1. So at distance L2 we'll have heavily loaded side. So WT2 is W into L2, and that gives us WT2 is equal to 27.25 into 10 raised to 3. Now remember here there is no need to calculate this W, small w, separately. You can directly calculate WT2 as WT2 is equal to W into L into L2 divided by 2 L1 square plus L2 square. So you can directly calculate WT2 as well. Then after calculating WT2, calculate total load on heavily loaded side. So that is WT is equal to WT1 plus WT2, and that comes out to be 34,750 Newton. And then by using maximum tensile stress theory, tensile failure theory, we get WT is equal to pi by 4 into dc square into sigma t, where pi by 4 into dc square is resisting area resisting to the tensile failure. So by putting the values, we get dc, core diameter of bolt, is equal to 27.2 mm. Now remember, in exam a standard table will be provided to you, and if standard table is provided to you, what you have to do is you have to select the core diameter which is nearer to 27.2 mm, nearer, and which is above the value that you have calculated. So it's not like if you have a standard value 27 but your answer here comes 27.2, so you'll take a nearer value 27. No, the value that you are selecting from the standard table must be greater than the value you have calculated. If you take a smaller value, remember your design will fail, because this bolt will not be able to sustain 34,750 Newton tensile load if you are taking DC equal to 27. So you have to take the value of DC more than 27.2. So from the standard table, the core diameter 28.706, this is core series, this you can select core diameter of bolt, and this corresponds to the thread M33. So this is how we solve problem on the design of bolt for eccentric loading, and if load is parallel to the axis of bolt. Now in next lecture we shall see how to design a bolt if the eccentric load is perpendicular to the axis of bolt. Thank you.